Hello, I have found my tripod. So things are a little bit better. Things are looking up. My name is Lydia, and today I kind of want to talk about color theory, color analysis. Are we over this topic? People have been talking about color theory, color analysis a lot on my For You page on TikTok. And it's such an interesting topic to me. It's like right up my alley, right? Like I love categories. I love thinking about the ways we're perceived by the world. I don't know. I also love getting to know yourself in a different way, in a deeper way. Getting to know other people in a different way, in a deeper way. So, anyway, it's right up my alley. I love this type of stuff. And I do realize that we shouldn't care or really hold too much weight to color analysis or color theory when it comes to our style or I don't know, our identity, that type of thing. But that being said, it is interesting because I've come to sort of this new realization as of recently. And that is that I am a fall, I think. I think I'm a fall. You know, it's interesting because they say, like, you see all these filters and you see all of these different things that try to help you find your color theory or color analysis. And then you look deeper into it and they're like, actually, you have to go to a professional to find that out. And I'm like, what? Okay. Like, it was like, okay, tell that to us rural girlies who do not live in a big city, who do not have just color analysis. Just right at our fingertips. Anyway, but I don't know. I think you can probably figure it out yourself. There's probably ways to tell what color season you are and all of that, but and it runs so much deeper than I thought it did. Like, it's not just the seasons, there's like different shades and like undertones. So you could be a fall, but you could be like a deep fall or whatever. So it's interesting, but I think I've come to realize that I am a fall. And maybe that's obvious to you guys by looking through the camera right now. You're like, duh, like, girlfriend. Like, you're such a fall. But it was weird because, like, my whole life, people have always associated me with, like, blush, pale pink. Always. It's been such a strange thing to me throughout my life. Like, people have always attributed that color to me. Warranted, unwarranted, whether I asked them, whether I have not asked them, it's just always been a thing. I don't know why that is. I think maybe it's an aura thing. I do suspect that it's an aura thing. And so it's just always been there for me. It's always been sort of this association for me, with me. It's also strange because I think without people even telling me that, there was a period of my time where I really was obsessed with pink. And then throughout my life, I've fluctuated with like being so obsessed with pink and then kind of fading out of pink. And light pink specifically, like that, like pale light pink has been this like interesting connection for me where like I don't know, like I do kind of associate it with myself now, you know, in an interesting way. It's sort of interesting. And also, you know, how people see me as that color. It's just like those things happened at the same time. And I don't think people started telling me that first. I think I started liking the color, and then coincidentally, I don't know, it just sort of happened at the same time where people associated that with me. And people who don't even know that I have a connection to that color have said that to me. It's very interesting. But yeah. I had a friend who made like I had a friend group really of there's 3 of us, and one of my friends in the group had made each of us like how he sees us, like the aura or the vibe that we get. He made us like this sort of like digital art painting, and it was just so interesting that mine contained that blushy pink and then like a light sort of sea blue color, and I'm like, wow. It's just so interesting that is the case. And so for the longest time I thought that about myself. I thought like, wow, like that must just be me to a T, and everybody seems to think so. I even have had a color connection to that color, or a spiritual connection to that color. And then when I started researching color analysis, I was like, okay, obviously then I'm gonna be like a spring or a summer, like obviously, just because like people always associate it with me. I am usually like, it's interesting because I don't like a summer palette that much, but I do kind of like a spring palette, and I also like autumn palettes. So I don't know, but so I don't know, I just kind of assumed that I was going to be like a spring or a summer, and I really was thinking I was going to be a spring just because also my birthday is in springtime. So I was like, I bet you anything, it's just the world's colliding and I'm gonna be a spring, you know. And then it was just sort of interesting because I don't know, I just sort of felt like they weren't looking that good on me, spring colors. Like I always was drawn to them because I love the look of a ghostly sort of apparition, you know. And in my early 20s, late teens, I loved Cult Party K, which is a certain style of like K fashion. It's like Japanese street style sort of, and I loved it. I loved Cult Party K. It's like you just embody a ghostly figure pretty much, and you're pale and you've got the blushy cheeks and you've got the drapes on drapes on drapes. It's so gorgeous, stunning. I was obsessed with it. And so it's like I liked sort of the uncomplimentary colors to your skin, like things that made you look more pale. I was drawn to very unnatural, but like I don't know, I was really into that. And so I just kind of like was drawn to those kind of color palettes, like white and lace and pink and all of that. Very light colors with maybe like a splash of red in there, or a splash of like some sort of winter color. I always thought that was really striking. And I don't know, whenever I would wear things like that, like it was totally giving that vibe. But I was also starting to like look at things in a color analysis sort of a way. And I was like, these colors aren't really, they are making me like appear ghostly, pale, and pasty, which is like the object that I was looking for. And it started to make me kind of like second guess if those were like my colors, because isn't that the opposite of color theory? Like color theory is not supposed to make you look ghostly, pale, pasty, like it's supposed to complement your skin tones. I also thought like, oh, I'm pale, and so they like those kind of colors must look good on me, right? I don't know why I thought that, but that was just sort of my thinking going into this, being a total noob. I just thought that you, like, if you're a pale person, you probably go well with like lighter colors, and if you have more tans in your palette, you probably look better with like an autumn palette. I kind of like thought that for a good while, and as I was looking into it more and sort of discussing like just like well, what kind of things do look good on me to other people? Like, what kind of things like actually compliment me? Not necessarily like what I like, but like what makes me stand out as a person. What kind of clothing when I wear it stands out or complements my skin tone and looks the best on me. You know, what kind of things, you know, I like to ask other people. And I started to realize that people liked autumn colors on me, which is interesting because I love autumn colors. Like it was like I had two split sides of my wardrobe. It was typically pale, like white, lace, ghostly, or like a complete autumnal dream, you know. I loved, and I love foresty, mossy greens and different fabrics, like heavier fabrics, like tweed and all of that sort. So it's kind of interesting. Like I was displaying both sides of that, and so people were able to see me in an array of different color palettes. I do have some winter color palettes in my wardrobe too, in my older wardrobe, and so, you know, people were sort of able to get a gauge on what does look best on me. And yeah, the consensus was autumn looks the best on me. And it is interesting because when I started looking back at like the moments in my life when people would compliment me, I was getting the most compliments when I was in an autumn color palette. And it never really clicked to me before. I never really like thought of it, and I'm like, that is an interesting thing to look back on. And like occasionally maybe people would compliment me if I was like all decked out in an outfit, but they weren't really complimenting me altogether. They were like, oh, I really like that outfit that she's wearing. Whereas when I was dressed all autumnal, it was like, wow, like I just have to say that you're very pretty. I'm like, wow, thank you. That's like, you know, it's like interesting that I was standing out a little bit more when I was wearing autumnal things, like autumn color palettes, the oranges, the richer colors. Just interesting. It's also quite surprising because like, as I was looking into the autumn color palettes, I was starting to find out that there's different shades of autumn color palettes. There's some that are like the lighter, more pale color palettes, and there's the deep, rich autumn color palettes. And at first I was like, well, of course I'm going to be the lighter autumn color palette, because I still had that in my head of like, I'm probably like a lighter, like color season color way. Like, I don't know, the pale probably still looks really good on me. The best. And then as I was like starting to see the differences, like they would have like options where you can like put your face in the middle of like a collage of colors in that palette. And it was interesting because I could really see my features more when I had like the deeper, richer colors around me rather than like this shade, which also was interesting to me, even though I love this. I love the shade so much. So that was kind of an interesting thing to me too, you know? But then I started watching or actually these started coming on my For You page and I just thought they were so interesting. But on TikTok, I was getting these TikToks of people saying like, no, the real test to find your color palette is to find out what celebrities people think you look like and then see what color palettes they're putting them in. And when I first heard that, at first I was like, wait, okay, this is setting me back a little bit. This is setting me back because growing up, not since I've gained the 100 pounds from toxic mold, but I used to get this comment a lot, like, unanimously, this was the person that everybody thought that I looked like. I thought I looked like Tilda Swinton from Narnia, like Ice Queen, Ice Princess. And I'm like, I'm not gonna say that I don't get it. I mean, she's got the pale eyebrows like I do. And I don't know, I get it. I was very pale as well. I'm still very pale. But, so I get it, I do get it. But people would say that all the time. Like, I think that's like the #1 celebrity that I would get. But I have gotten a lot of other ones as well. Like, I think I have one of those faces where people think that I look like somebody else or somebody that they once knew. Because I get that, like, a lot. Like, I think I must have like a Mona Lisa type of vibe where it's like, do I know you? There's something eerie. No, I'm just kidding. But, you know, kind of. Because I've gotten over the years people saying that to me. Like, do I know you? You look kind of like this person, like this person. As of lately, I've never seen this show, but the show Shameless, I guess, has come out, and or maybe it's been out. Maybe it's an old show. I really don't know anything about this show. People say that I look like Debbie from Shameless as of currently. It's like almost, I don't want to say almost every video because I'm kind of new on YouTube, but like, I'll say like every handful of TikToks that I make, somebody's like, Debbie from Shameless, you're Debbie. And I'm like, I'm literally not. I don't know who that is. I don't watch TV. Maybe, you know, people say it's good, but intense, so I don't think I will watch it. But anywho, so, but when I first heard that TikTok, I was sort of like, well, okay, because I used to get Tilda Swinton, and Tilda Swinton is almost always put in like a winter color palette or like sometimes a spring, but it's like, whoa, it's like very like ghostly, but like with a pop of color. And I'm like, okay, that's interesting. But I recently started looking like at the kind of color palettes that they put her in and like what she actually looks best in. And I think they like to accentuate her otherworldly sort of vibe. So they put her in those kind of colors because I've seen occasionally, not very often, I've seen occasionally her being put in an autumn color palette and she just glows, dude. She glows. And it's almost like she turns into a different person in a weird way because we're so used to seeing her like total Ice Queen, vivid, it's either like bright and vivid or like pale color hues. And seeing her in like an autumn, like a true autumn color palette with soft golden lighting, like it does her favors. It is really good. It's really good. And with like a more natural hair color I've seen, I don't know, it's kind of interesting how that sort of gives her a different look, a far more natural look. There's something very human about it. I don't know. It kind of started making me think about like, oh, maybe there is some truth to this. And then I looked up Debbie from Shameless, and she's always in like a rich autumn color hue, and I'm like, huh, maybe there is something to this. I don't know. I also, you know, speculate that I'm on ethereal essence. It could be a natural essence, but I don't think so, because there's something about a natural essence that's super relaxed, and I don't think I give that vibe. I don't think I give that vibe. I maybe do now with my hair a little crazy, okay, but I don't think I really give that vibe. And just because people say that they recognize me all the time and I give Tilda Swinton vibes, it's giving ethereal essence. That's my assumption. And so it's kind of interesting looking at people who have the ethereal essence and a natural color palette and realizing that it does kind of, I'm getting it now. I'm getting the color hue, the color palette now. Whereas before I wasn't. I was like, I don't really get what I am. But Anyway, it's been a very interesting experiment for me, a very interesting, eye-opening experiment for me. I used to get a lot that I looked like the girl from The Golden Compass. And I think I've seen that movie when I was quite young, like a child. So I don't really remember what the plot is of that, or really even what the girl looks like. But I've gotten that quite a few times. You know, it is interesting. But, you know, side note, I've also gotten that I look like people who are just straight up redheads, that I know for a fact they don't look anything like me. That it's like when people just start listing redheads, that's when I know you got, no. Okay. You guys aren't really looking at me. You're just sort of taking my red hair and going, that's you. Any other redheads heads out there relate to that? Because sometimes I'm like, y'all, like, is that necessary? Do you have to say that? The amount of times in my life where I've gotten, you know who you look like? Lindsay Lohan. Lindsay Lohan, that's how you say her name. It's not Lohan, people. I found that out a couple years ago, and I was blown away. I've been saying Lohan my whole life. Anyway, or Ed Sheeran. I'm like, I don't think I really look like Ed Sheeran. I think I just have red hair. Anyway, but that's a common redhead problem. You know, they say you got red hair and now you look like any redhead. And that's just on that. Anyway, but, yeah, that's that. I think that that's my essence and my color palette. I think I'm a deep autumn with ethereal essence, you know, and that's a vibe. Now, what are you? What's your essence and your color type, your color hue? I think that's such an interesting topic. I really do. Of course, I'm going to still dress however the heck I want. Like, I'm not going to not dress in pink. Although, before in the beginning, I was, like, dressing in pink just to, like, see. Because I was like, well, if that looks best on me, let's see. And it just washed me out, you know? And I just didn't really care for how I looked in the mirror when I was wearing it, but I just was doing it anyway. Like, I liked how I looked in the mirror when I was doing, like, over the top, lacy, pink, white, like that type of ghostly essence. But, like, once I was, like, in toxic mold and I was kind of, like, just dressing however every single day, and I was like, I guess I should try to, you know, especially as I was detoxing and healing a little bit more, I was like, okay, like, I gotta find some newer clothes that, you know, newer comfy clothes, you know, and I would try to pick out like a pink or something to kind of make my look at least look somewhat decent, somewhat put together. And I just was like, this isn't working for me. I just don't like how I look in it. I don't like how I feel in it. You know, especially since I wasn't at that point trying to convey this ghostly look. I was just trying to be a girl. I was just trying to be, and I was like, I don't like how I look in this. And then, you know, autumn colors, I love them. I love them always. Like, they're just, and I'm like, maybe there's something to that. maybe that's the case for a lot of us, is like we gravitate towards the colors that do match us. And it's like a psychological thing. I don't know. I think it kind of is that way for me. Like, I kind of really do love autumn colors, and maybe I just, I don't know, I subconsciously look in the mirror, I'm like, I do like the way it looks on me. I don't know. Anywho, color analysis is fun, but not to be taken too seriously. You know, you dress how you want to dress, and people will still notice you for you. And that's how that is. That's how life is. Anyway, I just wanted to talk about that for a minute, and hope you guys have a good day. See ya.